Thank you, Indian Hill Singers. We will now begin the summit. But first, please know that by attending the 2024 Tribal Clean Energy Summit, you voluntarily agree to photographic, audio, and video recording and its release, publication, or reproduction by the U.S. Department of Energy. Welcome again. And now, if you are able, please stand as our host drum, the Indian Hill Singers, and the Native American Veterans Association Color Guard bring in the colors. Please stand. Thank you. Thank you, the Indian Hills Singers and the Native American Veterans Association, for bringing in the colors. We appreciate it. You may now be seated. If you're waiting in the back, please come forward as there are many open seats in the front. And now we will welcome to the stage the Intertribal Bird Singers.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mr. Chairman. Go ahead, Tom. Where's he going? What? All right. Hello. I want to thank you guys. This is an honor to be here, and let the Pechanga chairman, Mark, he can give a little talk about what we're going to do. Oh, all right. We're just going to start. Well, these are the bird songs. The Quia bird songs is the oral history of the people. Tayo, Thank you very much.
Thank you, Intertribal Bird Singers. We are now proud to announce our MC for this event, Jana Schmieding. Jana Schmieding is known for her breakout role as Reagan opposite Ed Helms on Peacock's groundbreaking comedy series, Rutherford Falls. The Lakota native comedian, writer, and fat-positive content creator was also a writer on both seasons. Currently, Jana is developing and starring in the multicam comedy Bonnie for CBS. Jana frequents FX's Reservation Dogs and voices Zelda Fox on Fox's animated sitcom, The Great North. Jana is a vocal advocate of Indigenous visibility and social justice, and she discusses these issues regularly in her comedy and writing. Now, please direct your attention to the video screens.
He's looking. It's cool. Totally chill. Totally cool. Humans pop music. Hi there. I'm Regan.
Oh my God. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm Regan. This is, unfortunately, a very accurate first impression. But nice to meet you.
Josh.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, let's start over.
I've been here like 1,000 times. You don't have any of my info in there somewhere? My mom works here.
What are you here for?
Got into a fight. Busted my nose. I got some good ones in though.
Did you tell your mom?
No, I didn't. And you shouldn't either. You know, like patient-doctor protocol or whatever it's called.
I'm not a doctor.
Belongs to wait.
You've been here 1,000 times. You should know.
Minneshanka diva Rayanne wants you to address the rumors that you're snagging a Snoopy white nerd.
We broke up, Rayanne. But who the hell are you to judge when your daughter-in-law buys sage from Urban Outfitters? Okay? And Sabres fan, everyone knows that you stole money from your auntie to buy that four-wheeler.
Let's take a break.
No, I'm seeing hearts and smileys. She's stopping the bleeding. Keep going. Drag them to the bottom of the bucket, you beautiful bitchy crab.
Jackie George, you bought your traditional outfit. You didn't make it. And Mark Francis, you told everyone you were going to Standing Rock, but we all know you went to Disney World. And Cameron Jones, you're a vegan. And all of that is okay. Except for the sage thing, that's messed up. But what I mean is, none of us feel like we're enough, right? And I know there are better people for this job, but I'm the one who got picked. I really wanted to make Minneshanka Wakanda, but no matter what, I'm guaranteed to piss off someone because we're not a monolith, and that's a good thing. I just want all of us crabs to get out of the bucket because the bucket is the problem. But until then, respectfully, I'm gonna say f it and make what I make and hope that more of you like it than don't. Because honestly, y'all can keep on hating on me and making claims that I'm secretly Puerto Rican, but I'm not going anywhere. Also, I know that my mom is watching this, so I apologize for the swearing. Thank you so much for your time.
We're 50-50 thumbs down and smileys. Most people bail to go to the Slipknot concert. I think we did it.
Please welcome to the stage Jana Schmieding.
Good morning. Hihaniwashte. Miyu. Yate. Osta sonale. I think I've covered the big ones. Please come in. Those of you in the back, if you're looking for a seat, there are folks out there, ushers with green flags pointing out open spots. Come in and have a seat quickly so everyone can find somewhere to sit. If you are streaming, if you're at home live streaming this event, welcome to you. I think the camera's pretty far in the back, unfortunately for me, but put some pants on. I'm Jana Schmieding, Amachiapi. I'm Minneconjou and Sichangu Lakota, and it is my privilege and honor to be your Master of Ceremonies at this year's Tribal Clean Energy Summit. It's early. The summit started early. I'm fine with it. You seem uncomfortable. I wake up at a reasonable hour. I'm a Lakota comedian who, for some reason, has been invited to spend a couple of days with you very intelligent people. So consider me a vessel into which you will be pouring this sacred knowledge. But I did not pass chemistry in high school, so please also consider that, okay? I am but a humble theater nerd, so I promise I will do my very best acting to convince you all that I know what you're talking about for the next 2 days. Oh, that's right, I am a writer and an actor. Most of you probably know me as Bev, the bitchy IHS receptionist on Reservation Dogs. Thank you. I do want to assure you that Bev is just a character, okay? I will not be wandering around this summit sluttily collecting lanyards, okay? Unless you want me to. And those of you who could afford a Peacock subscription might know me as Regan Wells, the Cultural Center nerd on Rutherford Falls. Yeah! We have any Rutherford Falls super fans in the house? Let me hear ya. Thank you, 5 of you. I do have a special message for you 5 people, you 5 super fans, and that message is this. It's not coming back, okay? We were canceled. Peacock canned us. And we're not coming back. It's not going to any other network. We're done. There will never be a season 3. You will never know if Dallas and Goldtooth and I got married, or if I left him at the altar like I did Martin Sensmeyer, the hottest man in Indian country. Please stop DMing me about it. It's now part of our collective trauma. Peacock canceled Rutherford Falls. We have a great 2 days planned here at Pechanga. We'll be privy to some amazing speakers from a diverse array of tribal communities. There are enriching breakout sessions planned where important idea sharing can happen. And I'm even going to pepper in some fun games and activities to get to know each other. I can hear the collective sigh. They will be fun, I promise. I know some of you probably know each other from doing the little conference circuit, but the rest of us need to catch up. I may be a lowly performer, but I'm also an educator. I was a teacher in the South Bronx for 10 years before I was an actor and a writer. Thank you. I'm a lifelong learner, and I find the topics being covered at this summit crucial to my work as a storyteller. If we cannot thrive as Native people on our lands, I cannot thrive as a loose Native woman in Hollywood. Making jokes and making out are very hard when we are in a collective struggle. So it's important to my work and to my lingerie budget that we stay in good relations with our mother, the earth. Pechanga Resort and Casino is an incredible facility, and I encourage you to explore its many features, the spa for a massage, the 1,000-year-old great oak tree to remind us of the resilience of our people, and of course, if you're like me at 2 a.m. tomorrow morning, or tonight, rather, you'll be in some sweatpants and slide posted up at the Buffalo Run slots with a sad cigarette hanging out of your mouth. But I know that there is no smoking in the casino. They do give me a pass because I'm homies with Chairman Mark Macarro. Where's Mark? Hey, Mark, my homie. I'm in with Mark Macarro. It's cool. Any other tribal leadership in the house? Tribal chair people, tribal council members? Hey, welcome. I want you to know tribal leadership, and this is very important, that if your nation has a casino, I have a very affordable speaking fee. And it will likely go right back through your Buffalo Run slots and back into the hands of your people, so I am a veil, just saying. And here's the part where I practice my Saturday Night Live hosting. We have the Secretary of Energy, Jennifer Granholm, here today. I haven't had an opportunity to meet Secretary Granholm yet, but I have done some Googling, and I am a dumb comedian, so I can say this, but Senator Granholm is hot. Wow. I know she is an incredible politician and absolutely brilliant, but wow, that is a beautiful white woman. My word. Whew. All right, before I get out of your braids, I want to cover a few housekeeping items. For those of you who will be speaking at this event, there's a little time clock right here. And that will let you know the timing of your presentation. When the clock hits 0, you're done. All right? We're going to have to wrap it up. I don't want any long-ass prayers or complaints about the cost of valet. It's expensive, but you can afford it. I've already talked to Indian Hill Singers. Where are my guys at? They said they're going to help me play you off. And then you have to pay them for the song, so Indian way. Sorry about it. All right, you're going to hear more of my incredible story tomorrow morning at 8:30 sharp. But first, I'd like to introduce you to our host for this summit, Tribal Leader Mark Macarro of the Pechanga Band of Indians. He's the chairperson of the Pechanga Band of Indians and president of the National Congress of American Indians. Mark was first elected to the Pechanga Tribal Council in 1992 and is currently serving his 28th consecutive year as tribal chairman. Please give up a rousing war cry for my homie, Chairman Mark Macarro.
How are you? Oh my God. It's great to see you. God. We used to play that song. May you yum. Love a cup of wana eva opum esh. Non Mark Macarro yaka. And welcome to Pechanga. Good morning, everybody. It's good to be here with you. And I didn't pay attention to the schedule and the fact that I am following Jana. So thanks for the warm-up. Really appreciate that. Okay, I've been told there's timers. Here we go. So there's so many things I want to say and that I think you should know, especially if you're a first-time attendee here to Pechanga. First up, I was remarking, because Jana said it's early here in the morning, and it is. Normally, it's a full council meeting day on Tuesday, we convene at 9, and I noticed that we had better than a quorum of tribal council members here, and it wasn't even 9. So, Pechanga council members, if you could stand up, please. There's at least 5 of you. 1, 2, 3. Actually, yeah. There's not one of us missing, huh? Son of a gun. It's always the case. So, thank you for being here. Thanks for allowing us to be your host for this conference. It truly is meaningful, especially because, we're trying to get started in terms of being a participant and being proactive in the energy space. And, we have cogen facilities. We have a 2.1 or 2.3 megawatt generation facility on top of our parking structure. Another one planned and on the way. Our goal is actually to be energy independent here at Pechanga, to have our own microgrid, to be an island unto ourselves, because all my life we've been at literally the tail end of Southern California Edison's grid, I guess. We're at the end of the line, and all that means in terms of power fluctuations and brownouts and being invisible. It's like this corner of the grid that didn't get much attention until we opened up the casino, and then it started to get the attention of Edison, Southern Cal Edison. So at times they've been good partners. At times I think it feels like they've been unwilling. And if you're in the room, Edison, we got some reckoning to do. But that is our goal. They know it. And as I tell folks often, we were here before you. We plan to be here long after you're gone. And we have to, situate ourselves for the world that comes well after you. So that's how we roll. And I think that's how we all intend and strive to roll in Indian country. We try to make the best of our current circumstances and go from there. Now, speaking of that, you heard Jana Schmieding mention that we have this great oak tree, and actually our steakhouse is named after it. You'll see throughout the property, I think, little theme elements of acorns or oak leaf trees, along with basketry geometry that is embedded. It's subtle, but it's there. If I tell you, maybe you'll see it. It's purposeful. But, the name of our great oak tree is Wiashra, or that's the place where this great oak tree is. And it actually is older than 1,000 years. It's between 1,500 and 2,000 years old. It's a Quercus agrifolia. It's an oak tree. It's an oak species. It's the coast live oak. And as far as I think we know, we lost the land that the tree is situated on in about the 1860s. And we were able to buy it back in 2001. And so we've cared for it ever since. We cared for it before, certainly. And it was actually hands-off during the time that we did not own it. But shortly after we bought it, and that was in 2001, so months within the purchase, we were notified that Sempra Energy and San Diego Gas and Electric intended to condemn the land that the tree is on so they could put a 500 kilovolt power line project through a corridor right through and within 200 feet of the ancient oak. And Wiashra is the name of our oak tree. And so it was known as a Valley Rainbow Interconnect project, and it would have started 30 miles north of us in Sun City, I think, Romaland, Sun City, and continued to just over the hill, Rainbow. And so 500 kV lines, and the last thing we needed was a bunch of towers, 500 kV towers within 200 feet of our ancient oak tree. So we fought the condemnation. We were, with a considerable effort in Washington, D.C., were able to stall the condemnation from happening. We passed a bill, signed into law, that prevented the condemnation of that piece of land, which then allowed us to work the succeeding 2 or 3 years to get that land into trust, and we did in about 2004. And also we had to fight the Public Utilities Commission in front of them. We had to fight the project there, and we got the project killed. And so we were able to save the great oak tree from degradation of that 500 kilovolt power line corridor. So if you get a chance to see the tree, bear that in mind that, there's these threats. Never mind droughts and boom years of rain and so the boom bust cycle of weather. The tree is well established, it's strong, and I think like we feel and like we are collectively. It's been here, it's been witness to lots of things. So, but it needed help fighting off this attempt at degradation, and who knows what beyond that. You're sitting here in a facility that had a very humble beginning in 1995 when Governor Pete Wilson of California, former U.S. Senator, did not want to negotiate compacts with us here. And we started these other machines called video lottery terminals, and they spit out paper tickets. And that was in 1995 in a field, well, just about where the parking structure is, between here and the big parking structure out there. And it was trailers, and it was, I think, 20 trailers was our gaming floor. I mean construction trailers, end to end, and then it grew into tents. And so by 2002, we were able to have tribal state compacts with Governor Wilson's successor, Gray Davis, and then that started the physical plant that you're in. We expanded, I think in 2008, and added a round bar area at the card room, and then in 2017, the atrium, the spa, the resort pool. And so part of a bigger vision that we had, and along the way, we had lots of naysayers. We had lots of folks that said, the casino's going to do all these things, bring drugs and prostitution and crime and traffic and lower property values. And actually, none of that really happened, at least not the way they were saying. So, it's property values went up. In fact, they went through the roof. The neighborhoods right across the street, prior to the bust of 2009, property values were greater than 40% the national average for homes. So it was actually went the other way. The design of the homes across the street mirrored the design here that you see on property with the stacked rock and wood. It's kind of a quasi Frank Lloyd Wright design style, and the entire sea of 2,100 homes on the flat right across from us is something that they mirrored. So we've actually helped the neighborhood look better and be a better place to live. We're 25 miles from the ocean. The nearest beach is Oceanside, and it's southeast. I think I'm pointing roughly southeast that way. And just about 8 miles north of Oceanside on the coast, maybe 10, is the defunct San Onofre nuclear generation station, SONGS. So it's not operational, but it is 25 miles due west of us. We think about this from time to time because those spent nuclear rods are still in there. So, and we're downwind. So there's that. It's an interesting place. This used to be an area full of military installations, and many are there in reserve status. Some have gone completely offline, especially the ones in Orange County, like Tustin and Los Alamitos, which is actually L.A. What was the other one in L.A.? There was not Orange County, Tustin, and I can't remember. So it's an interesting place. 2/3 of California's population lives within a 2-hour drive of us. So that's 38 or more million people. It's an interesting place. And had we not had Interstate 15, which actually was constructed in 1975, we'd still have the humble little 395, Highway 395, which goes from here to, I don't know, Reno, I think, Eastern Sierras, Bishop, the high desert. So there's been lots of transformation on our landscape over the last 40 years in particular. And you know, we've tried not to be a punching bag, but rather to be as proactive as possible and make the best of our circumstances. So, you know, being able to be responsive to the situation is something that's very important for us. My light's blinking, I see that. So I'll wrap by saying, I think a good example of us trying to be proactive and rather than, you know, just defensive and not being able to do anything, is if you're in your room, or you don't have to be in your room, you could do this online at www.mountainthatweeps.com. There's a story about our battle against Liberty Quarry Mine by Granite Construction. Granite Construction out of Watsonville, California, wanted to build a mine on a mountaintop it's just 3 miles to the west of us, and it was at the time was a half a mile off of our reservation. And we fought for over 7 years to prevent the mining permit from coming to fruition. I'll stop there so you can watch it and you can see how the battle evolves. If you've seen it, then you know what I'm talking about. But it wasn't easy. But in the end, we were able, I'll say this, we were able to save the mountain, and now today is part of our reservation, and there's no mine there. So, yeah. The mountain is a TCP. It's a sacred site for us. It's a sacred place. It's the place of where the first funeral on earth ever happened, according to our beliefs and our religion. So you will learn a lot more of that. It's a video, the movie, the documentary is about an hour long. It's made and produced by one of our own tribal members, Brad Manoa, graduate of the USC Film School. So have a look when you're in your room. You have some downtime. It runs on one of the channels up there. If not, you don't get a chance because you're on our gaming floor in front of the Buffalo slots, like Jana said. You can watch it on your phone or on your computer or other mobile device. It's a pleasure again to host here, and looking forward to the rest of the conference over the next 2 days. So have a good time and enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you, Chairman Mark. Give it up for Chairman Mark Macarro. And thank you, Chairman, for inviting us to this beautiful location, this beautiful resort. About that, Chairman Mark, the spa. I do remember maybe a couple months ago when we talked about possible unlimited spa access for me. We could talk about it later. It's just that, the small amount of celebrity that I have gets me literally nothing in Hollywood, so I thought maybe native to native, we could do we can talk about it later. It's not important. Our next speaker is Wahleah Johns of the Navajo Nation. She's the director of the DOE, Office of Indian Energy Policy and Programs. Director Johns is responsible for advancing the Office of Indian Energy's mission to maximize the development and deployment of energy solutions to benefit American Indians and Alaska Natives. Her background is in renewable energy and community organizing, and she has a doggie named Atsa that she rescued from an Alaskan village. A mother of teens and a dog mom, please welcome Wahleah Johns.
Welcome, and thank you, Chairman Macarro, for your words. And I just also want to appreciate all of you, tribal leaders and tribal staff, many of you who came long distance away from your home to be here today. So I'd like to thank the Indian Hill Singers for opening the space with your songs and the posting of colors, and the bird singers today. It's really beautiful to be here on your homeland, and I really have learned a lot in the past 2 days. I also want to thank Jana for hosting or being the MC of this conference, and National Congress of State Legislators as well. Again, my name is Wahleah Johns. I'm Salt Clan, born for Red Bottom people, and I'm from northeastern Arizona in a place called Twinjone. And it's been an honor to serve in this role as a director of Office of Indian Energy for 3 years. I want to give props to our amazing office that has helped organize this summit. And so they're in the hallway, we have a table, and we have a number of DOE people here that have a lot of information to provide you. And the theme of the conference is called Tribes Leading the Way in Clean Energy, because when I came to this role, I looked at the 10 years that Office of Indian Energy has been investing in tribal communities and seeing a beautiful trend in that you're designing and taking the use of clean energy technology and implementing it in your communities. So I just want to say congratulations, and we're going to continue to celebrate many more projects like that, and that's why we put on a summit. I also want to give a special thanks to Karina Agacola, who's our new external affairs. Can you raise your hand? So Karina has been holding the bulk in NCSL to put this conference together. All right, so I want to make a few exciting announcements. The Office of Indian Energy released its funding opportunity today for $25 million for clean energy technology deployment on tribal lands. So there's information again at our table, and I think the deadline for that is May 30th. And there's another announcement. The Office of State Community and Energy Programs announced sparking investments in transformative energy, so it's C-Site, for $18 million to implement tribal-led, high-impact clean energy projects in disadvantaged communities. And this is for also cities, or small towns and cities. So that's an opportunity. And then we also have the Indian Energy Resource Guide, which is also back at the table. These are, again, opportunities for you all today. And if you don't know much about our office, we offer financial assistance, grant opportunities, technical assistance. We do educational webinars, and we do a lot of outreach. We have a few initiatives focused on energy access, energy transition, and helping to support TCUs to transition to clean energy. We also are trying to implement the Indian Energy Purchase Preference, and again, you can learn more at our table about that. So in these past 3 years, we've been able to raise our budget from an average of $10 million annually to $75 million. And we also supported and selected 60 tribal clean energy projects that, one, it's amazing how much this small but mighty team carries. We've been able to lower the cost share from 50% we can go as low as 10% based on financial need. We are working to make our grants more accessible to tribes. We also help to design and advocate for a $150 million program that's included in the IRA to address and solve tribal clean energy access. And then we're continuing to grow our team to 30 people, which is really fun, for a program that was so tiny. And I'm just really proud of our team again. So in 2021, I came here to advocate for families and communities, for grandma, grandpa, for our children that still struggle with not having access to electricity and paying too much for power. It is these two generations that I think we need to lean on for guidance in this space. Our elders carry the knowledge and wisdom that we need right now. Our young people follow us and will be inheriting our decisions. Those generations are mostly not represented here with us today. Many of them are at home, taking care of home, animals, or they're in school. I would like to remember them because in these next couple days, because that's who we're doing this for, right? And I also want to encourage, each of us are here, each of us here have a moment of opportunity in leadership. Whether you're elected by a community or appointed in your role, or you're a leader in a clean energy developer, or the federal government, you have the power to make big things happen. These moments of leadership come and go. In 20 years, most of us won't be in these roles that we have today. But the decisions we make while we're in this leadership space, can have huge impacts in our communities and for our world. We organized this summit to make big things happen, to learn, to expand your network, identify funding opportunities, to find partners to work with and deploy clean energy. You'll hear from Secretary Granholm and other senior DOE leadership officials. You'll hear from tribal leaders who have developed innovative models to deploy clean energy, as well from environmental justice advocates. There are developers and philanthropists here, deep experts on virtually every aspect of clean energy technology and opportunity to talk with, to be able to talk with and share your goals, share your vision. So I come from a coal community, and that history and the operation has taught me a lot about the ties to the federal government, to states, to California, Nevada, Arizona. Well, our resources from our community provided affordable power for the entire West for 50 years. It is really disheartening when I do go back home, and many of my relatives still don't have access to electricity, and we haul water. So I'm telling you this because this has sparked something inside me to advocate for a new way of doing business, a new way of creating a model that takes in consideration our homelands, our planet, all living things, the wisdom that we carry, but also what we're facing is this climate crisis. That we have the technology, the intellect here in this room. Many of you are engineers. Many of you are scientists. Many of you are also community organizers. And you each have a role to play in the design of making things better for our communities. And I just want to continue to advocate and for this new model and whatever that is, because I think the old model of energy development is not working. It hasn't worked. And this new model, I believe, carries community benefits. I believe that it's clean energy. We're going to hear from many of you you guys are going to talk about your projects around renewable energy development. And it's going to also include being collaborative. It's going to include making sure that we center communities in the decision-making process. That is so key, and what I am learning here at the Department of Energy, and we also require community benefits plans for funding opportunities that are out there. So I'm excited about you all being here, because I see your leadership is we're all I guess we're all in looking through the future. Our children are wanting something powerful, equitable, and that takes in their future. So I just really appreciate, I think I went way over my time. Actually, I only went 15 seconds. So I will hand it off to Jana, I guess. So see you around, and at the end of this summit, I'm gonna come and ask you what you've learned. So, exciting. Bye.
Thank you, Director Johns. We appreciate your leadership and vision as the leader of Indian Energy Office. I am now privileged to introduce our featured keynote speaker. Jennifer Granholm is the 16th U.S. Secretary of Energy, sworn into office on February 25th, 2021. She is leading the Department of Energy in helping America achieve President Biden's goal of net zero carbon emissions by 2050 by advancing cutting-edge clean energy technologies, creating millions of good-paying union clean energy jobs, and building an equitable clean energy future for us all. Secretary Granholm oversees the department's core mission to promote American leadership in scientific discovery, to maintain the nuclear deterrent, and to remediate the environmental harms caused by legacy defense programs. Previously, Secretary Granholm served 2 terms as governor of Michigan and taught at University of California, Berkeley, where she focused on the intersection of law, clean energy, manufacturing, policy, and industry. Please welcome Secretary of Energy, Jennifer Granholm.
All right. Oh, I hate to interrupt that music. It's such a good tune. Thank you, Jana, and thank you, Wahleah, and I know, is Chairman Macarro there? Where? Over there. All right. Excellent. And so grateful to the Pechanga Band of Indians for hosting today. It's a treat to join you here at DOE's Tribal Energy Summit. This is going to be a fun one. Why is that? Yes, because after 3 years of deepening our consultation, of wrangling legislation, of standing up billions of dollars worth of new programs, today, DOE is announcing some huge awards. So just stay tuned before I get to that. I want to share a quote that's on my mind. There is this old adage that says that leadership is planting trees under whose shade you will never sit. And its meaning, of course, is clear, that we have a duty to think and to act beyond self. We have a duty to leave our children and our grandchildren to 7 generations a better world than the one we were born into. Or as we often say in my family, we must leave the campsite cleaner than we found it. And I was thinking about this yesterday evening because I had the opportunity to join Chairman Macarro for a visit to Pechanga Reservation's Great Oak Tree. For those of you who don't know, if you're familiar, it's just this amazing tree, which is indigenous to this area. It's 1,500 years old. And it's one of the oldest living oak trees in the United States. And it is massive. Its trunk is 25 feet around. It stands almost 100 feet tall. But the cool thing about it is that because it's been there so long, its branches come down and touch the ground and have grown into the ground. So it's like standing underneath this massive, incredible umbrella as you visit the tree. And it's as though the tree is like an old grandmother whose arms are reaching down to embrace all who gather beneath her. And even now, the chairman was telling me that the tree produces the acorns that sustained the Pechanga people for thousands of years. And even today, the Pechanga people dig up the saplings from those acorns that sprout under the tree and may replant them across the reservation so that one day their descendants can sit in their shade. And this tree made me sort of reflect upon the work that we're doing at DOE, and that those in this room are doing. This multi-generational mindset is really at the heart of the president's clean energy agenda and strategy. It's the legacy we hope we will leave, because we are, right now, the projects we're investing in are like saplings that we're planting across the country, saplings that we hope will grow into mighty oaks that will bear endless fruit for their caretakers in the form of good jobs and economic growth and a future where we once again live in harmony with the earth instead of polluting her instead of polluting our shared home. So together, we have got a lot to be proud of. $66 million awarded so far to tribes for grid resilience projects, nearly $250 million available for tribal rebate programs, $20 billion in loan authority available for tribal energy projects at scale, and so much more. And these accomplishments are built from your guidance, your ideas. I hope you see that in our new and improved funding opportunities. I hope you see that we're trying to make those opportunities more accessible, more sustainable. It's not perfect. We still got a lot of bureaucracy. We know what we're trying to, with lowering cost share requirements, with fewer archaic qualifications. We've hired dozens of new tribal liaisons. We've deepened our consultation and engagement around co-stewardship. And we do those things not just because they are the right thing to do, and they are, but because they're the only way to make sure the clean energy transition succeeds. They're the only way to bring about the sweeping and lasting change that our children and our grandchildren deserve. So, brings me to today's announcement. Last year, we opened at DOE a new funding opportunity through President Biden's infrastructure law for energy improvements in rural or remote areas. This was not specifically for tribes. It was just energy improvements for rural and remote areas. Today, I'm thrilled to announce that we have selected 17 projects overall to begin negotiations with. And of those 17, 12 are by tribes, for tribes. 12 of this, that's 70% of these awards went to tribal nations and tribal projects. And you know what? Because this was a competitive program, right? Just so happens that tribes submitted overwhelmingly great projects to be able to fund. And not only did you win 70%, but collectively over $200 million. This is the largest amount that the Department of Energy has awarded to tribes for energy projects. It is historic. Historic! So, I am going to ask that the tribal leaders and representatives from those 12 projects please stand so we can see who you are and congratulate you. Please stand up. If you are from one of those projects, woo! Bravo! And if you didn't apply, there'll be more chances. But for those who did, congratulations. Together, these projects are actually going to serve 30 tribal nations, from Alaska to Wisconsin, California, New Mexico, and each one carrying a potential for generational change. Let me give you a couple of examples. On Navajo and Hopi land in Arizona and New Mexico and Utah. All right. The rowdy table over here. Native Renewables is going to install home solar and battery systems for 300 tribal homes. Now that is powerful because in the sunniest part of the country, thousands of tribal homes simply do not have electricity at all. They rely on flashlights and batteries. If they have a generator, they drive 45 minutes to town to fill it with gas. If they don't have a propane refrigerator, they go buy ice almost every day. And home solar flings open wide the doors of opportunity and comfort for more fresh, healthy food, for running water, for internet access, for remote school and work, for just making a pot of coffee. And some elders have lived in these homes for generations, and they never thought that they would see electricity in their lifetime, and now they will. And their children and grandchildren will as well, who could also live in these homes for generations more. So great. Then, in Washington State, the Yakima Nation, I know they're here too. Where are you? Yakima? Somewhere? Okay. They're going to convert old irrigation canals, there's a lot of canals, and they're going to turn them into highly efficient solar and micro hydropower system. So they'll build solar over the canals, so the project won't disturb cultural resources. And that really means something to elders who still remember the rush of new energy development. They still remember places like Celilo Falls, the roar of the falls, and then the deafening silence as it was swallowed by Dahl's Dam to power the growing region. And with this new project, the Yakima people will prove that clean energy and responsible development can and must go hand in hand. And they'll make sure that young people won't have to rely upon stories about sacred sites. Instead, they'll come to know those sites and cherish them and protect them for the generations to come. And then, in 11 Alaska Native villages in the Northwest Arctic, they'll install solar microgrids and battery storage and heat pumps. And what's more, the villages, I don't know, is anybody here from the 11 Alaska Native villages? Yes, yes, all right. Thank you for coming all this way to Southern California for this. So great. But it's my understanding that the villages will own their projects. So that means they can sell the power to local utilities for roughly $1 million a year in combined revenue. And this is significant because for decades, so much of their budget has gone to importing diesel fuel, which runs about $10 a gallon on average. And some households spend up to 60% of their income on energy. And now these villages could offset families' utility bills and build community resilience funds, and even, as some are thinking, send young people to college. And imagine they could train those young people for careers in clean energy, could find good paying jobs, could bring their skills back to build new projects at home. And they could start their own families and raise them in the peace and quiet, the clean and clear Alaska air that comes with turning the diesel off. These are just 3 of 17 beautiful stories of new promise and potential. And we're so proud to help bring them to life. And they're just from one funding opportunity. We still got so many open. I know Wahleah talked about a couple. DOE staff I know is in the grand ballroom here to answer any questions. Plus, we've got the Tribal Resource Guidebook that Wahleah mentioned. And that, in case you didn't write it down, it's energy.gov/Indian Energy/guidebook. Energy.gov/Indian Energy/guidebook. Lots of opportunities. We've got our energy efficiency and conservation block grants, EECBG. These are formula grants. You don't have to compete for them. You just need to get applications in. The tribal awards are small, from 10 to 20,000, compared to maybe what it takes to apply, but you can team up. You can pool funds. If you don't want to manage a grant, you can submit a streamlined application, get your money's worth in technical assistance or equipment rebates. So we just don't want you to leave dollars on the table. And then second, as Wahleah mentioned, there's our Office of Indian Energy's annual funding opportunity, and awards there can be up to $5 million each. Third, we have our Loan Programs Office. You know the drill, 10 times the available loan authority, no direct application fees, no need for a partial guarantee from a commercial lender. And while it might take a little bit longer to get a conditional commitment, our loans are roughly $100 million or more. And without getting over my skis, we'll have more to say on this program very soon, so stay tuned on that. And finally, we've got the President's tax credits for clean energy deployment. Historically, tribes have not been able to take advantage of these kind of tax credits, but no more. Not only are tribes eligible, but tribes are uniquely positioned to reap the benefits in full. Here you get the credits back in cash. So imagine this, your tribe maybe wants to build a community solar project. So first, you can get 30% back if you pay workers prevailing wage and use registered apprentices. There's another 10% stacked on top of that, so 40% if you source materials made in the US, so US-made solar panels. There's another 10% on top of that if the project is in an energy community, like many of your nations. Another 10% on top of that if the project is on tribal lands. Another 10% on top of that if the project primarily benefits low-income households. That is 70% off of your project costs. That's amazing. And that's the maximum benefit. But woo! You guys, we gotta take advantage of this, right? Many of these credits are uncapped and they're on the table for at least a decade. But nonetheless, we want to act quickly, so we encourage you to think about that. And community solar projects are the top of the list, I think, for many. And I will say you can also invest your cash back in new projects over and over again. In fact, you can seed a whole orchard of mighty oak trees where future generations can rest in their shade. The great oak tree that I described, the Pechanga oak tree, has come to, I think that was me, has come to embody for the Pechanga Nation, the Pechanga Band, 4 characteristics: strength, wisdom, longevity, and determination. Those 4. May we all embody these characteristics. The strength to move our people in new energy directions. The wisdom to recognize that new direction cannot damage our planet any longer and must heal it. The longevity to see it through and to plant those saplings for future generations. And the determination to stay the course and make it happen. Every generation gets one opportunity to set this kind of change in motion, if they get one at all. This is ours. Let's seize it together. Thank you so much.
Wow, that was so cool. Oh my gosh, I'm like kind of nervous after that. I don't get starstruck, but Secretary Granholm, wow. I'm sure many of you have seen Secretary Granholm on TV and press appearances. But I'm very privy to her appearance on a 1978 episode of The Dating Game. She's kindly asked you to not Google that. Thank you, Secretary Granholm. She is the right leader at the right time as the United States takes the next important steps toward a clean energy economy. Next, we will hear from Pitt of the Confederated Tribes of the Warm Springs of Oregon. He's a general manager of Pechanga Western Electric, the first tribal electric utility in California, which has provided cost-effective power to the Pechanga community since 2017. Please give it up for my Oregon homie, Pitt.
Hey, Miu, Nich Maitsky. My name is Pita Lewis Pitt. I'm a member of the Confederated Tribes of Warm Springs who are in the house here, and I'm the general manager of Pechanga Western Electric. Appreciate the Bob Marley soundtrack. That's super nice to have. It's definitely intimidating to be up here after the stage had so many great leaders and I think of a high caliber, and we're very fortunate here at Pechanga to have a council and a membership and people that are so invested in the utility. So I'm super excited about that. You know, we stand here today with electricity that's coming from the band itself. And so Pechanga Western Electric is supplying all of the kilowatts that are here today. And I think that's something very important. And I just have to take a moment to look at the sea of Turtle Island here, of how many beautiful people, when we all come together from the different corners of this great land, it's always impressive. I think that each and every person here carries with them medicine and strength from their homelands, and I hope that coming here and visiting, as I'm a guest here as well, has helped me heal and helped me grow, and energy has been a part of that, to learn about it, to figure out where sovereignty overlaps with it. So I'm excited that all of you made the journey to a wonderful valley here that I'm very fortunate to live in. So enjoy your time, and I'm excited to see so many projects going on and so many different layers of sovereignty being flexed out there. So, you know, hats off to all of you for making the effort to get here from all over, all the way from up to Alaska and everywhere else. So I'm just super excited to be able to look out and see you all. So take a look at yourselves, and definitely, I think, you know, keep the momentum going, because our people, wherever they be, are depending on us, I think, to find ways to energize their life. And however that path is will be different for each band. Like, our sovereignty may be different, our ways of life may be different, but related. So I just hope that what you see here can help you gain some momentum to think about how you can help within your community. I'm very fortunate to be here. And I think sovereignty has all of its different aspects. And we have seen a cabinet level representative of the executive office of the sovereign of the United States. And that is something that I don't take lightly. I think that is a very impressive demonstration of partnership as we, as Warm Springs people, are a treaty tribe, and sat down and negotiated with that sovereign, that executive, and those relationships, be they treaty, executive, or other, those trust relationships are important. And I think all here can carry a piece of that when we go to DC, or when we go to our state level, our county level, our city level, to carry that sovereignty. And I'm very thankful for DOE to organize this. So I'm definitely excited on that. A little background, I kind of like origin stories, so I will say that on March 10th, 19 in the 50s, coming up on an anniversary that's very difficult for river tribes, was the Dalles Dam. And the Dalles Dam flooded Celilo Falls, where we made a good living for generations, watched ice ages come and go. The river itself wasn't there at some point. And we have these stories, and that dam coming in, I think, displaced a lot of folks, and I'm one of the descendants of those. And when I think about that, and I think about my role here, part of what happened in that power project was the direct current line, or the Path 65, that comes down basically the 395. If you ever get a chance to road trip it, it's definitely worth it. But most folks maybe don't see the symbolism of that actual direct current line that comes down from Celilo, where the people that I'm lucky to be from are from. 3,000 plus megawatts come down 800 plus miles all the way from Celilo Falls, Celilo Converter Station located by the Dalles in Oregon, right into Sylmar, California, which is at the north of the, I'm not sure which valley, I'm still kind of new here as a Californian, but it's on the north side of LA. Yeah, San Fernando, thank you, Chairman. 3,000 megawatts, enough to fire up, I think, 2 million plus houses. And, you know, I tell this story because that connection is what brings me here, I believe, is that power also connects to Pechanga Western Electric. So the band, you know, one thing I've learned that I'd like to share is some of the electrification did not come into the band's area to the actual homelands on the reservation until the 70s. Some of the rights of way are in the early 70s into the mid 70s, where previously there was not electricity. So I come here as a descendant of somebody who lost a lot in that dam project that created power to fire up LA and everything in between, while the band here was still working to organize to figure out how can they exercise their sovereignty to get electricity. And as the chairman, I think, rightfully pointed out, you're in one of the main anchors, you know, that as this demand grew, I think the relationship grew, but the band also invested heavily in its own resources and its own ability to choose its self-determination as a tribe, and Pechanga Western Electric is but one example of that. So I'm definitely fortunate, and I like to share the connection that we have with that DC line, that we do have power that does come down from the river. Now, if you watch how many hands it changes through, if you actually go through the ownership, quote unquote, of the power, you know, that's a different story. The entities that own that power right now are largely LADWP, Southern Cal Edison, other investor-owned utilities who were able to then turn around and sell that power to residential customers and pay off their investors first and foremost. And so I think one of the things that I like to share is when tribes are able to cut all of that out and become the actual utility itself, is we answer to but one group, and that is the Pechanga people, who I'm very fortunate to work for, and the government that represents them, the council. So I definitely think that there's advantages to having a utility. That's a story that I do like to share, and I will say that I do carry a piece of Celilo with me in a way every day. Is I have Shaglal, She Who Watches, is a rock art piece and has stories that are deep with us, and I have it on my ring, and thankfully my wife is here to support me, and I carry that every day. So I come to you guys, you know, humble and wanting to show you what we have, and definitely excited about what you all are doing. So I'm definitely excited about this and a little bit nervous, so I just thank you all. You know, I hope that tribes can start advocating and do advocate at every level, whether it's your PUD or your co-op. Sometimes if you look at the numbers, you may be able to vote your own folks into those boards and start making real change within it. You know, maybe do a little census and think about it. I know there's tribes that can actually, with a block of people, get somebody in there. Same with the investor-owned utilities. You know, right now we're being treated largely as customers, but we're not customers, we're sovereigns. And I think advocating, commenting on all those open comment periods, as sometimes dry as it can be, it really does start getting traction. So I implore everybody here to look at how you're situated. As Chairman pointed out, we're at the end of one line and we're at the beginning of another. So we're at the end of Southern Cal Edison and the beginning of San Diego Gas and Electric. And there's a lot of gap there. And you may find yourself in a similar position, and then be able to focus on, you know, who should we start advocating with? Who should we talk to? That, you know, you can start pulling the sovereign card and really requesting some negotiations, because there's a lot of collective bargaining power in this room. Your sovereignty matters, and I think utilities, be they investor-owned or others, they have to react to that. So I hope that we can take that back to wherever you're from, check out your area, and start, you know, thinking about it. I think you might be surprised. Like, you probably with a few votes could get in on certain things and start really, you know, making a difference within the entities that are there, and get that representation, because I think that's important. We have federal folks here, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, who regulates a lot of interstate power, right now doesn't have a couple of commissioners. I think it's time for tribes, it's time for tribal knowledge to be in those stakeholder decision-making roles. And those are things that we can do when we go back to DC or go to the state, is request, you know, hey, we would like to start seeing some of our decision makers at the PUCs, at the FERC, at all the different layers, because we're not just stakeholders, we're not special interests, we're sovereigns, and we have a people to worry about and a people to look forward to serving power to and others. And right now, I think that there's room. There's plenty of folks in this room I see that are 100% capable of filling in a lot of these really strong roles that I feel like it's time. You know, we have a lot of great leadership with Director Johns and, I mean, Granholm, you see the secretary, and I have to shout out National Parks too with Chuck Sams, and there's a lot of folks out there doing things, and I think it's time to just support those people. It's not easy for folks. First and foremost, I think you got to be a fan of people, which I find that I'm pretty blessed with being a general fan of human beings, and I think tribes especially. So if you guys need like a cheerleader, I'll definitely be there. You know, I think it's time for us to really start getting into those positions that can have effective votes. One thing, as I know project people in here or others that are actually engaged in the physical building of projects, and I hope there's some DOE people listening, is the lead times on transformers. Like, anybody out here, we need to do something about that. I feel like the administration, if I had an ask, would be, we have got to figure this out, because, you know, 3 weeks, 5 weeks turned into 50 weeks, turned into 100 weeks. You know, those are things that we can advocate for, as all these projects require a transformer, you know, regardless. Hey, and I hit the time. Yes, all right. I see a blinking light. So I appreciate you all. Turtle Island's beautiful. You know, you guys, it's just an honor to be able to look out and see so many tribal folks. Keep carrying on your ways and digging in, you know. I think the land and the earth needs us right now. We're going into a very, very difficult time. And bottom line, tribes have a lot to bring, and I hope folks are hearing us. Appreciate you and enjoy your stay here. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Pita. Pita Pitt is maybe the only Columbia Lions fan in all of the United States. That was him. I didn't even know Columbia had a sports team. I'm an Oregon Duck myself. Any ducks out here? Hi. Oregon has a widely beloved sports program. But you know, Columbia Lions are cool, Pita, I guess. Any other NCAA fans out there? Sports fans? We have any former Pac-12 folks in the house? Good to see you all. I want to move us into a discussion about how Indian country is leading the way in transitioning to our energy future. Our moderator is Dr. Tommy Jones of the Cherokee Nation and Naknek Native Village, deployment specialist with the Office of Indian Energy Policy and Programs. Dr. Jones is responsible for assisting the supervisor to implement the office's deployment programs on technical assistance, financial assistance, and education and capacity building. Please welcome Dr. Jones, who will moderate and introduce our panelists.
Hello, everyone. What an amazing turnout. Wow, such a huge event. And there's more people watching online. Hello to my family that's out there watching right now. It's an honor to be here, and this is about energy country, Indian country leading the way. And we have 3 leaders with us that are doing that in their communities. And so it's an honor for me to be on the stage with these 3 amazing women, and I'm looking forward to hearing from them. We really want to elevate tribal voices at this conference and within DOE, and so I'm thankful for their participation. And so to my direct left, we have Meryl Picard from the Bishop Paiute from California. We have Alexander Salmon from Igiugig Village in Alaska. And we have Chairperson Parker from the Hualapai tribe in Arizona. Thank you all for your time in attending, and we'll go ahead and get started. So the first question, and we can go in order here, is what were some of the events or the realities in your communities that really drove changes related to energy in your community?
Okay, well, I'll kick it off. I think, in our area, I'm in California, and I think the need for an affordable future, cost for energy is really expensive here in California, and I think we need to work towards having energy at really low cost for our tribes, and that's one of the things our tribal staff are really working to create that in our community for us. And last year, we don't get very many outages, but last year we got a big, huge winter storm. I don't know if you know where Mammoth Mountain is, but we're on the way to Mammoth, and we got plenty of snow last year. And although the outage happened on a weekday or a weekend, it was a Sunday. If it had been during the weekday, our Head Start that has 80 students wouldn't have been able to go to school. Our education center that has 80 plus students who come for tutoring wouldn't have been able to go to tutoring and receive services. So getting ahead of those types of projects so that we could have backup storage ready for any type of outage that may happen in our community.
Thank you. President Salmon.
Jana, so I come from Igiugig, Alaska, which is remote, air accessible only. It took 2 days to travel here. It's very cost prohibitive. I remember DOE asking, it was $770 to the city. Does that sound normal for you? And it's like, yes, it's more expensive to reach the city than anywhere else in the United States. We really love where we live. We've been living there for over 8,000 years in place. Our keystone species are sockeye salmon and caribou. We really became a modern village. We settled to keep a school open year-round so our youth can stay home. And then it became a struggle to keep 10 students in school for the school to stay open. And the community really had to do some deep visioning. What do we need to be to become a place our young people will want to remain? One of them to address was the high cost of living. We're at $1 a kilowatt hour for electricity. We're at $12 a gallon of gas. Everything is flown in. Our little tiny runway can't get an expansion. There's a lot of geographical challenges. But all that aside, our bulk fuel farm is sitting at the headwaters of the last largest sockeye salmon run on the planet. We had a 72 million sockeye return. And I watched, as we're facing the climate crisis and everything else, I watched our bulk fuel farm of 114,000 gallons nearly erode into the river overnight from the climate impacts. So if we want to sustain in place, we've been transitioning before transitioning was cool. We've been transitioning for 23 years. Practically, when we gained an awareness of the diesel being bad and harmful and how vulnerable we were to not only the cost of the fuel, but the geographic challenges in getting it out to our community, and then the challenges with running our own utility. A lot of we're islanded utilities. So there's a lot of challenges, but also it is the absolute land of opportunity. We thought if we can prove our technology here on Earth, then it should be doable anywhere. And so that's kind of that's what our tribal council did. A lot of community planning. We did 100% consensus-based building before making, transition goals. But really it came from our cultural values. We want to live in place. Iriarak is where Lake Iliamna is swallowed by the Kwijak River, and that's where our people belong to, and that's where we want to remain. And in order to sustain that, we saw this transition as necessary.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Sherry Parker. I'm the chairwoman of the Wahleah tribe. Our issue and concerns was self-sufficiency. We have a resort out on the Grand Canyon, and we are rural area, so our nearest town is 50 miles away. To reach our resort from our reservation is 57 to 60 miles. And so we started our resort, and we had no electricity. We had no trash, sewer, anything like that. So we're currently right now opening our solar panels in order to cut our costs for our Grand Canyon West Corporation to be working. It employs about 400 plus employees out there in the Grand Canyon. It's open year round, and we are the home of the Skywalk with the glass walkway. So in order to continue to promote our business, to take care of the Wallapai people, which is like 2,300 people plus, we started exploring and trying to figure out how we're going to do this. So in August of last year, we opened our solar panels. We had a dedication opening for that. At the same time, we won a $312 million settlement from the government over our water rights. And so that was a great time for us. Thank you. And we fought for that over 20 years. But in December of last year, the president signed off on that. Excuse me, in 22, he signed off on that. So I stepped into office in January of 23, finishing a term for the former chairman. But it was such a great honor to be able to open and dedicate our solar and our water negotiation, our water settlement. So this was originally why we're fighting so hard to get that, to supply energy out to the Grand Canyon West so that we can continue to promote our resort, which usually has 800 to 1 million people a year. So we are still growing. We thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you to all three of you. We can follow up with considering some of the challenges or successes that you've seen in your communities related to energy development. We're all starting in different starting places, and I think that the three of you all have leadership in your communities in this, and so this is something that would be great interest. Sure. Anyone who wants to? Yeah.
So to start with successes, I would just say first and foremost, thanks to my staff. We have a really great director of our environmental department. He's here with me. And I just want to give him a shout out, because without his work and determination to bring those successes and continuing them, because councils change very often, right? In order to push and move our projects forward, we need wonderful staff like him and his staff. So I would just say for successes that I want to point that out. But we've also done some strategic planning, and along with one of our council members who's kind of taken the lead on this, the tribe initiated strategic energy planning through the DOE and technical assistance and climate planning through the state of California, their Office of Environmental Health. So residentially, 700 homes and 2 apartment complexes now have solar on them, and we were the first in the state of California to do that multifamily homes project, so we're really excited about that. Commercially, our economic development is important, and so we're looking for a commercial park for our casino and our 2 gas stations and our future hotel. So we want to make sure that we're providing that energy for ourselves on our reservation. So that would be like the second phase now. And then future planning is for our community. So we want to create energy for all of our homes, because unfortunately when we started that project of reaching 700 homes with solar, it's not feasible for each home. We partnered with Grid Alternatives, and it's a low income based project, so sometimes our families weren't eligible for that, or maybe the shade around the home wasn't eligible. So the next step is to really create that community project so that we could give solar to all of our tribal members. And I also want to touch on residential solar projects. So funding by the California Solar Affordable Single Family Housing funded the Grid Alternatives in the Inland Empire, installing 210 solar systems on home rooftops and 50 kilowatts of solar on tribal multifamily housing projects. So that was kind of the successes this past couple of years with the Bishop Paiute tribe, and again, just continuing to look at how we could serve more of our tribal members in their homes and their needs.
Thank you.
Are we talking challenges and successes or just successes?
Both.
Okay, 23 years of this, there are a lot of challenges and successes. In fact, I don't even know yet if we're a success story. So I think trying to share a message that you can carry to your tribal community. It really started with the planning, the comprehensive planning. It wasn't an energy plan, it was what do we need for Igiugig to survive in this modern era and keep our young people at home. And alternative energy was identified at that point as a top 3 priority. And from there, we've been learning as we've been going. And hindsight, of course, is beyond 2020. I would have started so many different ways than we did, but at least we held our indigenous planning methods has remained constant from the beginning of time. And I have used those methods to put our best foot forward when it comes to energy planning. In fact, it requires a lot of adapting and changing as time goes on, and we've grown our own capacity to do that. So in 2021, our tribe set our own goal, which was to reduce our diesel fuel consumption by 50% by 2030. It's a goal we imposed on ourselves for ourselves, and we have the ability. We grew over 20 years the capacity to do everything as much as we can in-house. We have engineers, we have finance degrees now, we have fish biologists. Not only did energy grow up not in a silo, but we were fighting against the opening of our watershed to the largest open pit mine in North America. We were revitalizing our Yupik and Diné languages. We were opening up a tribal stewardship office for the entire Lakes region. So that small but mighty motto is what we've used for Igiugig. Like, we're a nation of 70 people. We might be the smallest in the country, but that if we can prove that this can work in our village and not harm the fish, then then this can be deployable elsewhere. So a lot of the challenges, there are different areas. There's challenges in the community, there's challenges intra-community, and then there's challenges with all your external partners. In our project, whether it's our solar project or our hydro project or our energy conservation strategy, it really involves the academic institutions, it involves the research world, it involves permitting, the federal funding, the state funding, the private funding, and the village. And in Alaska, you have the landowning Native Corporation too. So one big success that has come out of here is something called an adaptive management team approach, where we bring all the permitting agencies into the room. And this is where I drive home the sovereignty lens. To be asked, what's your goal here? Is it to, reduce your cost of electricity? Well, that's a benefit. But our real goal here is to prove that we are of a salmon culture first, and we need to be trusted when we say that we have used our deep indigenous knowledges to select the technologies to move us away from diesels, and that our voices need to be heard when it comes to regulating. I, as Igiugig Village Council's elected president, want to have the authority when we turn on our hydro device and when we turn it off. And whatever length that takes to de-risk our project, we have no evidence of any fish mortalities, but we need, we are doing this for the environment, for salmon. We need to be trusted with our decision-making around that. So everything under the umbrella of tribal sovereignty, and then you get energy also translating into wellness. You get energy into building tribal capacity, and actually we're like educating as many people as we can. One of the when we got the water power technology office out to our village, when they finally made it out, they said everything makes so much sense now. All they needed was a visit. our lives, our subsistence way of life, and our remote living, actually that story cannot be told in a manner that translates all the way to federal headquarters. Headquarters have got to come out. And so those are challenges. The communication, managing community expectations, not losing yourself in the why behind what you're doing. And one of my favorite success stories were for hydro, and we're not just hydro, we're hydro solar. We want all of our partners working together. Our battery energy storage system that was funded by Department of Energy, Indian Energy, is supposed to be able to take these different renewable energies because we want to have a diverse portfolio. We know the river flows diminish in the winter. So anyway, kind of the comprehensive, holistic approach that's been, there's a lot to share, but one of my favorite stories was when my two boys were making a huge mess in the bathroom, and I went to the bathtub to look, and they said, they were just churning all the water, and they were like, we're the river generators! That's the imagination for our young people. They grew up with innovation being the normal, and they know how to access this technology, so the future is so bright for us. Jana.
Thank you.
Very good. I don't know how to follow that up. But our success story is that we continue to thrive as Native people on the Wahleah Reservation, and that the solar is going to help cut down on our actual fuel costs for our generators and all the other stuff that we have to utilize in order to bring our Grand Canyon Resort to life every day. And so we have a lot of challenges just because of the remoteness of where we live. And that was a very good statement because, it is important that people come out. When I go to DC, I say, come visit us, come see what we're about, because that's the best thing that you can do is see. Seeing is believing, right? And that's how we continue to thrive and promote our way of life. I thank our business because it supports 28 programs within our department, our police department, our school, our education. We have a variety of programs that are there to help our people, our health, education, and wellness program. I mean, I could go on and on about those things that our business supports because those are important things to us. We have issues and we have concerns. So when opening this solar panel, it's really going to move us forward, and it's going to give us confidence. And I always say this, the work that we do, just like the lady was saying earlier, the work that we do today doesn't prosper us today, but it prospers my children, my grandchildren, and the children that we don't even see yet. So our business, we want it to continue to thrive on the Wahleah Reservation, on the Grand Canyon, but we also want to be conservative. We also want to watch out and be careful of what we do with our land, because our land blesses us by giving us the things that it does. Our land out on the Wahleah Reservation off the Grand Canyon is spectacular. It's beautiful, it's tranquil, it's peaceful, and every time I go there I feel such a comfort in knowing that there's a creator that painted such a landscape for us, and before they people wanted to take it away from us, or they threw us on this little nugget of ground, but we've used it to cause ourselves to grow and to still thrive and to be alive. Self-sufficiency, belief in ourselves, and also, utilizing the people and the access and the friendships we have with our fellow tribal leaders and with our leaders in Washington, D.C., and all the people that are here. My staff are amazing. They think of things that I've never thought of. So when I came here, the solar panel I hadn't thought of, but in 2019 somebody did, one of our tribal members, and they were able to utilize our Wahleah Utility Board in order to promote that. So this is why we're here today, and we're all fighting for the same reason. We're all fighting for survival of the future of who we are and where we're going. Thank you.
Thank you. You can see why these three are leaders of their communities. Thank you. And I know Chairwoman Picard touched on this a little bit about the upcoming projects that they're looking to, but if either of you have any comments about what you want the energy picture to look like in your community in the future, or any other projects that what direction are your communities going with energy? Yep, either.
So I think for us, it's about, developing the capacity for renewable energy and that collaboration and, looking into the future, because even as, we're sharing these stories about our children, they may be the next ones who come up with that innovative idea and thought for our tribe, and then, others will look to doing the same thing. So with the Bishop Paiute tribe, I think we're always looking to look for alternative collaborations and partnerships with other entities who might be looking for that next, good thing for our community. We're close to a lot of the lithium mining, and although that might be the forefront right now in the future of energy batteries, maybe we look to new ways of getting energy batteries and partnering with those who are already doing that work in the UC systems, and just need that partnership to move it forward. So we want to collaborate and continue our partnerships beyond our borders. So I think that's one thing we're really looking to do, and then set up our current efforts for efficiency and electrification. Where we're at, we're hoping to really move our tribal fleet towards electric vehicles, but in order to do that, we have to build up that capacity, right? And have those resources. So we've already moved towards getting funding for electric bus for our Head Start. We've also put in for 2 electric shuttles for our education center to transport our children to and from the centers, and then also for our elders. So our elders to have an electric vehicle shuttle as well. So we have definitely a number of different projects that we're looking forward to completing. We're considered to be landlocked where we're at. So again, looking at that land and the resources that we currently have, how could we be meaningful with what we have, and not to take up more space, but to put these projects on top of buildings we already have, looking to adjacent lands and to get those back into tribal hands so that we could provide, again, those energy resources for our community for beyond, my day and age.
Thank you.
I think that being progressive is very important, but we also have to remember, as tribal leaders and tribal nations, our tribal customs, our culture, and our traditions. And with our elders, it's really hard to try to visualize that and keep our traditional cultural things alive in our communities. But being progressive means bringing these new ideas and thoughts into our community. I remember I sat on the council years ago, and we talked about solar farms, and we talked about wind energy, we talked about all these things, but we weren't ready for that. And now that we're here in this place at this time, we need to really consider, how can we work those things? How can we bring the understanding to our elders so that they make sure that they're comfortable in what we're doing? And me as an elder as well, I think about that, and I want to be respectful, because these are the ideas and the thoughts in our culture, tradition that we've grown up in and that we've lived in, and these are the things that we try to keep pristine. We try to keep our land pristine so that nobody comes in and destroys it. We're careful with it because we care about it, but we also need to be progressive in having thoughts and ideas from people that we work with, and learning how to bring forth these progressive ideas to the people. But I think it's awesome. I think it's good. We talk about lithium, and those are one of the things that we fight against, but yet it's part of what the future is, right? But I believe that we as tribal leaders, as tribal people, can work together to be progressive without destroying. So that's what I believe, that I want to move my tribal leaders forward as I leave. Maybe perhaps I might leave a nugget of wisdom on how to do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jana, she brings up a really important point I always share. We, living in the Arctic, have fashioned the seal oil lamp to perfection with the most efficient use of energy. If anyone could lead this country, it's our people. All of us, we are masters of that. Sustainability isn't something new, so I just wanted, to build on that. We have a long way to go. I have job security, if that's what you were wondering. Basically, the comprehensive energy plan that we adopted as a tribe, that was done in conjunction with the National Renewable Energy Lab. And I just want to share that story for anybody looking to get started. Like, it really helps to have a plan, and it's the process that's more important than the actual outcome. But that plan, I watched it grow capacity overnight in my community. Now we have the staff just running because they have the plan behind them, and it lines out all the actions. So I do know we will get off of diesel. One thing I didn't know was we have to keep the diesel as the backup. So like some of the things I'm still coming to grips with that we're learning through this transition period and what that looks like. But the climate crisis that we're in, calls for this all hands on deck energy transition. And it's not just energy, it's all energy. We're transitioning our food. We're farmers now when we used to just live subsistence way of life. Now that we're living in place, we're doing all these things in Alaska. After 40 some years of Emcee, Alaska Native Claims Settlement Act, we finally understand what we lost and how we can navigate these complex structures. And then, a lot of people are like, well, your nation's 70 people and you're hogging up all this money. We're proving things. We're proving grounds. And not only, one thing that I do want to share is there's a power cost equalization program in Alaska, and we're on a mission for sustainability for Alaska and beyond. That we were an oil state, and helping our state come off of that oil dependency, and then also the rail belt where all of our population lives, that drives the cost of electricity where I live. So it forces you into these arenas that you never thought you would be a part of, or working on these statewide research level like barriers to tribes. What's happening in Alaska? Why are tribes not taking advantage of these opportunities? Well, bringing those solutions all the way to DC, or having DC come out and having everything there, just guiding. Like, you don't just sit through this or actively participate in this process to do nothing with that experience. And it's the storytelling aspect that I'm really looking forward to sharing out, as well as seeing where our future generations run with this. Jana.
Well, thank you very much. I think, we're all better together when we work together, and the successes that you and challenges that you all have faced, sharing that benefits all of Indian country. So I want to thank you all three of you, for contributing, sharing what you can, and making this event great. So thank you very much for all of your support, and if we could give our guests a round of applause. Thank you. All right, and then I think we're going to move over to the cruise ship. Is that where we're going now? No, I think Jana's coming out here, and we'll move on to the next part of the event. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, panelists. Oh, I may have messed up the PowerPoint up here. Thank you. I love a woman-heavy panel. Love a woman-heavy panel. I know we are getting antsy to chat with each other, and I'm going to give us an opportunity to do that. I want to say a special shout out to Meryl Picard of the Bishop Paiute tribe. I got my first 2 COVID vaccines at the Bishop Paiute IHS. That's right. I don't just play an IHS employee on TV, I'm also a patient. One clap. I love IHS. I am learning so much already this morning. I hope you are too. My tiny little comedian brain is hurting. There's only one thing that can cure the pain painful intellectual growth, and that's a very long massage at the Pechanga Spa later, followed by hours and hours of slots. Hope to see you there. You are getting to know a lot of leaders in the tribal energy scene, but how much do you know about each other? Let's play a little game that will not only help us see who's here at this event, but also help get the blood flowing in those numb little pancakes we call butt cheeks. All right. For this game, you will not have to move around the room, but I will be asking you to stand up and sit down. I'm going to call out some personality traits, and if you identify with that trait, you'll stand up. So again, I know the directions are challenging, but it's simple. If you have the trait that I call out, you stand. And if you do not, stay seated. Let's play the game. I'm going to call it stand up if. Here we go. Please stand if you are wearing clothing designed by a Native person. Oh, hey, all right. Look at these styling natives. Who are you wearing? Jessica Harjo? Ooh. Who do we have back there? One of you in the group of three? Call out your designer. Brenda Tiger? I can't hear you. Agnes? Kindness. Brenda, Kindness. I'm going to look her up. That's a nice ribbon shirt. Gold and black. All right, go ahead and have a seat. Looking great out there. Please stand if you are currently wearing cowboy boots. Yeehaw! Yeah, baby. I know your dogs are going to be barking later. Looking good. Please stand if you attended a tribal college or university. Ooh, yeah! Give it up for our TCU champs. Stay standing, please. On the count of three, I want you to call out your TCU. Ready? 1, 2, 3. I heard one Haskell. Couple Haskell? All right. My grandma was a Haskell student. Please stand if you attended an Ivy League school. All right. Hey. Aw, you guys think you're so smart. Because you probably are. Please stand if you are here on behalf of a nonprofit organization. Welcome. Look around at your other nonprofit friends, the poorest among us. And I can say that. I did work for a nonprofit myself at one point. You'll be paying the penny slots with me later. Stand if you are here on behalf of a federal or state governmental body. What's up? Welcome. All wearing blazers, I noticed. Very professional. And stand if you are here on behalf of a tribal governmental body. Let's see these. Oh, yes. Yes. Our people. So cool. I love us. Stand if you came to the summit to get the hell away from your kids. Just kidding. The youth are sacred and all that. Well, please stand if you have ever snagged at a powwow or tribal gathering. Let's see it. Hey, there's my Oregon homie. Yeah, uncle. Only uncle stood up, ladies. Come on. Yes, yes, queen. All shy. Stand if you're an auntie or an uncle who's always the last one at the party. Where are you at? All right, girl. Every family needs one. Stand if you have a side hustle, selling beadwork, artwork, or a cultural craft of some kind. Where are my Etsy killers at? Hey, Winchie, all right. Me too. Hope you're charging enough now. For those of you who purchase from native artists or designers, always tip the artist. We're never charging enough. And last one, stand up if you're very excited about where tribal nations are headed regarding energy sovereignty and green energy practices and policies. Yes. That was everyone's opportunity to just kind of shake out the butt. Little wiggle, little stretch. All right. And a very important part of the event is happening now. You all got drawing tickets. I am told it is called a drawing and not the R word. But this wouldn't be an Indian event if we didn't have a drawing. So I insisted that we pass out tickets at entry. So everybody get out your drawing tickets.
I'll bring you the skirt after. We're doing a whole. Yeah, but she has to get on there, so I think you have to use this one. Okay, cool. Okay.
Check 1, 2. All right. Here we go. The first item that we will be giving away is by Kennard Begay of Chinle, Arizona, the Navajo Nation. This is gifted to us by one of the vendors out in the lobby, and you can and are encouraged to visit the vendors in your free time. Please sell them out. I encourage you. And if whatever you don't buy, I'll buy. This is a beautiful bracelet. It's shell. So some lucky drawing winner is about to win it. Here we go. Whew. Pressure's on. Listen, you can hear a pin drop in here right now. It was so loud during my last bit. Everybody's like, oh, I gotta get that bracelet. Oh no. Here we go. 5, 6, 8, 2, 2, 6. Okay. Huh? Huh? Shh. What if it's someone quiet? Here we go. We're trying again. 5, 6, 8, 0, 9, 2. Okay. Well, what was supposed to be a rousing little drawing is turning into a real dud. All right. 5, 6, 8, 0, 7, 1. Yeah! Woo! All right. Hi there. Do you mind introducing yourself?
Surely, yes. Mark Harding from the Mashpee Wampanoag tribe over on Cape Cod.
All right. We got Mashpee Wampanoag in the house. You're very welcome. Give it up for Mark. We have one more prize that we're giving away. I am obsessed with this. Oh, I hate to give it away. Okay, I'm gonna model for you. This beautiful ribbon skirt is called the Kit Kat ribbon skirt. It was donated by Ann Yazzie Jewelry Company. There are more beadwork and sterling silver jewelry outside the doors by Ann Yazzie in front of registration, so please be sure to visit this vendor. Who is the lucky winner? Let's see. Oh, gosh, okay. 568256. This again? The auntie that is escaped to go to the bathroom is really ticked right now. 568387. Oh my God. What is wrong with us? This is not how this usually goes. All right, third time's a charm. Here we go. 568461. Okie doke. All right. This is getting tense. I'm pulling out several here. Oh, shoot. Oh, God. All right, let's try this one. 568047. 56. Oh, Chairman Mark. I hope this doesn't mean that you are rescinding the unlimited spa for me. Thank you, though. What a gentleman. 568223. Shit. I don't know, man. 568556. 556. I'm mad. I'm getting pissed. All right, 568. 478. Yeah, hi! Come on up. A young gentleman. This is going to look beautiful on you. Hi, come down here. Do you mind introducing yourself?
Tyler Masters with the Inland Regional Energy Network.
Tyler, congratulations. This will be either on you or a wonderful gift for a lady. All right. Aren't we having fun? All of the losers are like, no. I am pleased to introduce our second keynote speaker. David Hochschild is the chair of the California Energy Commission. Originally appointed to the commission in 2023, he was reappointed in 2019 and designated as chair. His portfolio on the commission includes international and subnational affairs, military, nuclear and security, strategic communications, and legislative affairs. Please welcome David Hochschild.
Good morning, friends. How's everyone doing? I'm David Hochschild with the California Energy Commission, and I want to just begin. Let's give a big round of applause to Wahleah Johns and the DOE team for organizing this tremendous summit. So I wanted to kick things off by just saying that nothing can ever make up for the loss of land and language and lives that's happened in the history with Native Americans in this country, but that together we can take actions in this moment that will make an incredible difference. And I wanted to begin with something that I find really, really inspiring, and wanted to pay tribute to the tribes in the North Coast here in California, the Yurok, the Hupa, Karuk, Blue Lake Rancheria, Bear River, and others, because something really extraordinary is happening in this part of the world. This is the largest dam removal project in the world, now underway. 4 dams coming down to restore the salmon territory. We want to just give a thank you to the tribes who are leading that incredible effort. And along with that, about 100 years ago, condor in that part of the state went extinct from lead bullets. And there was a tribal-led restoration effort that began, and I was fortunate a year or two back when they introduced reintroduced the first condor to be able to go and see this magnificent bird, which lives to 75 years old, 9.5-foot wingspan, and I felt in my gut and in my heart this emotion come up, just being the presence of something this sacred. And that restoration, I think, gives hope to the state, to the nation. We need to draw on this wisdom as we go forward. So I wanted to share with you a little bit about what we're doing at the Energy Commission here in California. We have a program to lift up tribal energy sovereignty. We have funded $88 million in the last few years to support tribal energy microgrids on 9 different tribes around the state. And then last March, at an en banc meeting we did together with the state's Public Utilities Commission, we adopted the first tribal energy sovereignty resolution, really lifting up the vision for tribes to determine their energy future and establish frameworks for coordination and working together and highlighting community benefits. And I wanted to kind of locate that effort in the context of what's happening here in California as we push for the future we know we need to build together, a clean energy future. So that future is going to run mostly through electric lines and not through pipes. We are building a future beyond fossil fuels. And so the grid here in California today is about 60% clean carbon-free electricity. We are going to, now by law, get to 90% by 2035 and then 100% by 2045. And so along with that is an incredibly exciting effort to electrify almost everything, starting with vehicles. So at the height of the wildfires in 2020, we've never had wildfire smoke like this in my lifetime. Governor Newsom did something incredibly bold. He signed an executive order requiring us to get to 100% zero-emission vehicles by 2035, okay? And people dismissed that as mythology and laughed at it. Well, now it's happening, and we're at 25% of all new vehicle sales in the state of California being electric, up from 8%. The best-selling car in the state of California is an electric car, with first state in the nation where that's the case, and we have more electric charge plugs than we have gasoline nozzles in California. So incredible growth there and creating a lot of jobs along the way. We have, as part of that, $10 million set aside for tribes to do zero-emission vehicle charging infrastructure and planning. And so that's a core part of the strategy as well. It's not just cars either. We are seeing electrification across the sector. Electric buses, we just gave a $30 million grant 2 years ago for a company not far from here that's going to be building electric school buses. We have electric ferries that transition's underway, electric rail, of course, electric motorcycles, and we just took delivery of the world's first electric tugboat here in California. We are also doing long-range electric semis. There's 36 electric semis operating out of Modesto doing this 520-mile range trucking routes, fully loaded. And so we want everything that connects to the grid to be a good citizen of the grid. And of course, the scale of the charging is getting bigger and bigger. This is the Coalinga EV charger station, 98 charging stalls on one site, and there's another one now proposed for 200 chargers. And of course, manufacturing, we're now making in California over 2,000 electric vehicles a day. And the Tesla plant in Fremont is the most productive car factory of any kind in all of North America. So coupled with all this electrification and renewable energy is battery storage, which is really fundamental to building a future beyond fossil fuels. We have about 40% of our gas fleet, our power plant fleet in the state that's in low-income and disadvantaged communities, and to retire those facilities, we need more battery storage. So we've added 6,600 megawatts by the end of last year. Next month, we're going to get to 10,000 megawatts. California is the largest and fastest growing energy storage market in the world. Now, we're also pushing rooftop solar. So our agency has mandated solar on every new home and every new building as part of building code. We build about 100,000 new homes a year in the state of California, and we're going to approach 2 million solar roofs shortly. We're doing as well a push on offshore wind in close consultation with the tribes. These are sites 20 miles offshore to generate clean power and help retire those polluting gas facilities in so many cities. As I mentioned, long-range trucking is now electric. I'll do a little tour of some of these projects. The world's largest battery storage project is here in California, Moss Landing on the coast. And we're home as well to the world's largest solar roof. This is the Apple headquarters in Silicon Valley. And just to give you a sense of this scale of this building, you could take the entire 49ers football stadium and fit it in that donut hole there. They've actually, instead, they've put fruit trees in the middle. But that's a 17 megawatt solar roof. And we're home as well to the world's largest geothermal power plant. So I want to just close with this. In my travels around California and meeting with tribes and other stakeholders, I realized something remarkable about the trees in our state. And I've always, like so many of you, gotten so much wisdom from trees. We are home to the oldest tree in the world. This is the Methuselah tree in Inyo County, almost 5,000 years old. It's a Great Basin bristlecone pine tree. And we're home as well to the tallest tree in the world, the Hyperion tree in Humboldt County, 380 feet tall. And we're home to the largest tree in the world by volume, which is in Sequoia National Park. And I took my 2 girls and my wife to visit Sequoia a few years ago. And at the base of these Sequoia trees are the cones, which are about the size of an egg. And you open up the cone and you can see the seeds, which are about the size of a grain of rice. And I was very inspired and moved to see how literally the largest living thing in the world is starting so small. And I think that's how we ought to think about the changes we're making here. What we're doing in this time matters. It matters. We are planting seeds for a better future, for a healthier future. We are literally the first generation in history to fully understand the consequences of climate change, and the last that can really take meaningful action to turn the page towards a clean energy future. And I want to say I do feel actually great hope and momentum around what can happen and the role of tribes in this movement, in leading this movement, because basically it's about returning to the tribal wisdom of asking the impact of every big decision on the 7th generation. And that's what the clean energy movement is about, and that's what you all are leading. And so I just want to thank you for all the good work and look forward to teaming up together to make some progress in the months and years ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hochschild. We thank you for bringing a crucial perspective from the state of California. Our final speaker this morning is Tracey LeBeau of the Cheyenne River Sioux tribe. Any other Eagle beauties in the crowd? Hey, so am I. we fine. What can I say? Tracey LeBeau is the administrator of the Western Area Power Administration. WAPA is a unique federal utility that delivers low-cost hydropower from 57 hydroelectric plants, provides transmission services, and markets energy to nearly 700 wholesale customers across its 15-state footprint. An accomplished infrastructure executive, Tracey LeBeau has more than 20 years of experience in management, energy development, public-private partnerships, utility business operations, federal policy, and energy finance. Most importantly, Tracey is my CRST tribal sister, and we have a secret tribal handshake. Please welcome Tracey LeBeau.
Thank you. Great introduction. Good morning, almost afternoon, everybody. Glad to see a lot of familiar faces. Welcome, family. Welcome, friends. Todd Hooks, Agua Caliente, representing up here. And there's Mark. I'm Chairman Macarro. Good to see everybody. So thank you for inviting me to spend a little bit of time here with you this morning. As was mentioned, I'm Tracey LeBeau, Cheyenne River Sioux tribe. I think my chairman's in the room, so somewhere. So he asked me to give him a shout out, and I don't see him right now. So you bear witness, I shouted him out. So I am the administrator and chief executive officer, CEO for Western Area Power Administration. Have been in this position for the last 3 years, and so happy to be here today. I would like to thank Pechanga for hosting us today. They are also a very treasured customer of WAPA, and happy to be here. For some of you, you might not know me, but for many of you, you might recall that my first foray into public service in 2011, beginning of the Obama administration, was I joined the Department of Energy as a political appointee. I thought it was just a fantastic and fun opportunity to do public service. For the first time in my life, I was in private sector prior to that, my whole career. And so happy to have served in that position. I stood up this Office of Indian Energy, and I've just been tickled to see its growth throughout the years and all of the great work that it's doing and the real dividends it's paying out there in Indian country. I'm seeing it now as not just our tribal customers, but also a lot of projects are being developed on reservations and throughout our 15-state footprint. We have a few of our WAPA representatives in the crowd today, and I want to have them stand up. The first is Chris Service, who is a member of the Lakota Nation as well. He is a public utility specialist in our contract and energy services group from Huron, South Dakota. So Chris, where are you? He's over there, he's waving. Say hi to him later. The other is Jacob Dubbs Stubblefield, who is also a public utility specialist in our contract and energy services. He is in the back of the room waving. He is from Bismarck, South Dakota. So all of you North Dakota, South Dakota, Montana, Minnesota folks, these are folks that you should get to know. Both of them, like I said, work with so many of our tribal nations and customers throughout the Dakotas and Montana and also Nebraska. So when you see them, say hi, and then ask them how they power WAPA forward. Power Forward 2030 is our strategic plan that we put into place last year, and we've asked all of our employees to have an answer to how they power WAPA forward. So they should have an answer, right? You do? You have it ready? Awesome. So many of you here today are our tribal customers. For those of you maybe a little less familiar with Western Area Power, we market and deliver federal hydropower from 57 dams throughout our 15-state footprint. From those 15 dams is approximately over 10,000 megawatts that we deliver power from on a minute-to-minute, hourly, and daily basis. Amongst our almost 700 customers, our wholesale customers are municipal utilities, cities and towns, military bases, electric cooperatives, and well over 100 tribal governments or tribal utilities, again, just like Pechanga's, who has a tribal utility now and is one of our hosts this week. So as said, we're a federal utility business. We get almost practically no appropriation, so we, like every other utility in the world, we set our rates and collect them to do our business. We have just shy of 2,000 dedicated public servants, including energy marketers, grid operators, high voltage engineers like linemen, attorneys, environmentals, land specialists, and just awesome utility professionals, all who contribute to keeping the Western grid operating safely and reliably, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And so of those, all of those folks that we serve, they in turn serve over 40 million Americans throughout the Western United States. We are a transmission company. We own and operate over 17,000 miles of high voltage transmission, and that over 300 substations, and many communities throughout our territory go right through Indian country. And so we have the privilege of working in so many of those communities and I always like to point out, we really understand, are close to our customers because we live in those communities. We're not kind of, not to just DC, I worked there for a long time, but we're not kind of in Washington, DC, we are actually in our communities. And so we have that relationship and that kind of connection with the work that we do. So our folks are some of the most dedicated and mission-focused professionals that I've ever run across. So we're proud to every day work in collaboration, not just coordination with tribal governments and utilities. And I will also kind of specifically call out we work with a lot of tribal environmental and historic preservation officers, oftentimes in very difficult circumstances during emergencies or while we're providing mutual aid to each other. There's been opportunities, so many great opportunities for us to link arms and tackle very difficult situations very quickly and positively. I can give you a ton of examples from extreme storms that have hit or aviation accidents that have occurred that have taken down our lines, and we have had to quickly work with tribal professionals to respond to those emergencies and make sure that we keep our lights on. Occasionally, we have an opportunity to provide high-level technical advice on the feasibility of interconnections for our tribal customers. That work that we perform in those cases is the conduit for that work is the Office of Indian Energy. So if you ever go on the website, you have questions about feasibility of interconnecting into the grid, transmission questions. If you click on that, technical assistance, so if you're within our footprint, oftentimes Indian Energy will ask us to step in and provide a subject matter expert view on those things. So I think there's been many of you have been very interested in, because we have this kind of ubiquitous presence in Indian country, we've had a lot of tribal projects come forward, interested to interconnect into our lines. The two things I will point out about that, when a lot of these transmission lines were authorized and built related to these 57 dams, that was one of the reason why our transmission grid looks the way it does was it was built to really just deliver that hydropower out there. And so we are as built, this is how we were designed, which is a little frustrating to people sometimes. They want us to kind of see us expand our reach, our transmission lines. We can do that on occasion, but it gets a little tricky because our main focus, our main mission was really just to deliver hydropower to communities. All that being said, we have had a couple of projects make interconnection requests to us recently. We've got almost 1 gigawatt of interconnections moving through the process, very late stage process for renewable projects on reservation lands. And we're working very diligently at being responsive to those. I've asked myself why I took this job 3 years ago in the midst of incredibly epic drought. I've often referred to it as a slow-moving natural disaster, and in the midst of a lot of climate impacts. I really think there is a reason and why I was called to this at this particular time. And I think it's because I'm a true believer and understand how we do affects the communities we operate and really want to partner with those communities. Like I said, much of our 700 wholesale customers are in rural and small communities and in tribal communities. And I think what has been born out of that has been our ability to weather a lot of weather together, and our customers linking arms facing a lot of these climate storms and in partnership, because really what we do together affects us directly as well. In the last 2 years, we've made a lot of progress in planning and exploring ways together to hope for the best but plan for the probable, which will be continued drought and climate issues, and discuss how to make our grid more resilient and keep the lights on. At this moment, we've had, Mother Nature's been a little bit kind to us in the last 2 years, so we've been able to take a little bit of a breather. We're still planning for a long-term drought, but we have also, just to give you a sense of what's going on with WAPA, we also kind of pivoted toward, in the last year, to resources and our focus on reliability and operational challenges. The two biggest challenges that we're facing right now is threats, both cyber and physical. A lot of our physical security threats have increased threefold just in the last 2 years. I think it's just instability in the world, a lot of domestic unrest, but the threats on our system are real and increasing. And then also speaking about one of the ways that we're trying to address some of the issues that I think some of you are facing when you're trying to think about the ways to interconnect and get your power onto the grid is, how do we do that in a system where there's so many different ownership structures out there in the grid, and this kind of disaggregated grid situation where if you want to move your power from one place to another place, you have to often go over several different systems, adding cost as it goes along the way, often making your projects not pencil out. We've been pretty proactive in that regard. We have been joining organized energy markets so we could take advantage of moving electricity more efficiently across our systems. So we're seeing some benefit finally take root from that. And just in the last year or two, we have started to combine our own transmission rates where we've had, especially in Arizona, I'll give you an example, we had about 7 different transmission rates. And so we converged those last year. So starting last month, we have now one network rate, which means you can put it on one side of the grid, get it on to the other side of the grid without pancake rates across our system. So I think we are very proactively trying to figure out a way to make this more easy for everybody and really be a proactive partner with you all. So I will close with, I think the last time I spoke via video, we had announced our intention to establish, for the first time in 45 years, a tribal liaison office. Amazing that we've never had one, considering our footprint. And so we have stood that office up, and we have actually hired a tribal intergovernmental professional who's going to be onboarding with us very shortly. It took a while because we wanted to be patient and really find the right person. We rather do things right than fast. So stay tuned for that announcement. I wish I could tell you today, but it's personnel stuff, but it'll be very soon. And I also want to amplify and thank Director Johns and her team at Indian Energy for highlighting in this event that we have come a very long way, and this once-in-generation moment could be a culmination of many tribal visions and dreams. And so the only ask I have of everybody today is to please stay involved with the many initiatives that we always seek out and welcome customer input and feedback both informally and formally. So let's continue our dialogues. And I want to thank you for allowing WAPA to serve and partner with so many of your communities with reliable, affordable, and clean hydropower. It's an honor and a privilege, and we're grateful for our government-to-government and customer relationships, and we treasure it, and we'll continue to illuminate how working together in partnership we can light up our world. So thank you, and have a great summit.
Thank you, Tracey, for your remarks. All right, in a moment, we will be taking a break, and there's an opportunity to interact with or flirt with, I don't know how you're feeling, with DOE representatives from several different offices who I'm sure would appreciate the attention. Who doesn't? They'll be at their tables in the Grand Ballroom foyer, located past the registration area through the double doors. Also, please take some time this break to visit the vendors who brought all of their supply to you. I don't know, is there any, I'm sure there's birthdays coming up. I was gonna say a holiday where gifts are given, but St. Patrick's Day and Easter are neither of those. So just buy it for your own, for your jewelry collection. Lunch will be set up. It's not going to be set up until 11:30 in the foyer, and we have a very exciting speaker that you won't want to miss. Winona LeDuc is our luncheon keynote, so please make it back for that. Regarding lunch, please allow elders to go through the line first, as we traditionally do. And a quick note for the elders. Let's keep it moving up there, okay? You get to go first. You always will. But remember us hungry younger ones at the back of the line. Let's just move it right along. During lunch, you'll also be able to plan for your afternoon, where there are 4 tracks of concurrent sessions. Please see your program for more information about locations and topics. And important to note that back here at 12:25 will be the next drawing, and you're not gonna wanna miss it. To those 12 of you who did earlier, I'm so sorry. Let's not make that mistake again. And then, yes, please be back for Winona LeDuc at that time. Have a great lunch, everyone.